Happy week 14, guys. What's up? Welcome into another episode of the Betting Pros NFL live stream. My name is Matt Perrault, alongside Andrew Erickson, with you guys for the next 30 or so minutes as we get through week 14 of the NFL. Andrew, how are you? Welcome to the minefield known as week 14, because this week is going to be tough. How are you on this Sunday?
I'm doing good. It's like 61 degrees here in Massachusetts, so I'm enjoying the extremely warm weather here in December. It's a little rainy, but Patriots won on Thursday, which is not good, but I'm ready to move on, ready for week 14.
Can you bottle that and have that good to go on December 25th when I land? That would be tremendous. If I land in Boston and it's that temperature, I would be a very happy person.
Yeah, that's it's not gonna happen, Matt. Unfortunately,
that's not gonna happen. All right, Jacksonville and Cleveland, the first game of the day. All indications that Trevor Lawrence is going to play in this game. What are you guys hearing at Fantasy Pros and Betting Pros about this? Because this is a big factor. It was being bet down last night like he was going to play. Is he playing?
Yeah, I mean, all indications are that he's going to start this game after suffering a high ankle sprain last week on a short week playing against the Cleveland Browns. I love the Browns in this spot, -2.5. I think that's where, I'm not sure if more money's coming in on the Jags now that Trevor Lawrence is going to play. I have to imagine that's how it is. Don't care. I bought the Browns. The Browns are one of these teams you look at on the road. Their defense plays horrible, but at home, their defense is lights out in Ohio. And I just think that the Jaguars are so hot and cold. And the fact that Lawrence is dealing with this injury, they're losing Christian Kirk, which is big. I think that matters a ton. Like Christian Kirk is Lawrence's security blanket. So I love the spot here for the Browns.
I laid 2.5. I think I wrote 3 last night, Troy. I apologize for that. It's 2.5 that I bet last night with the Browns. I'm with you. It's one of my favorite plays of the day to jump on the 2.5 here. And look, it's 2 in books in Vegas. You're seeing a ton of money coming in here on Jacksonville. The total is 37.5. The weather's not going to be a problem, but you get a better number than I got. I think the Browns -2 is even better, obviously, than I got 2.5 last night. But I think one of the problems without having a healthy ETN and without having Kirk in the lineup and then a banged up Trevor Lawrence, who will be somewhat of a sitting duck. We know he's not going to be able to move very well. I don't care what the ankle, if he's playing, the ankle is not going to be 100%. I'm shocked he's playing, frankly. He couldn't walk off the field, yet he's playing this week. So I guess tape it up and shoot it up and away we go. I just feel like this Jaguar offense is not going to be able to do very much today, right?
No. I mean, the Browns you can't score on them when they play in Ohio. And they're getting their guys back. Like they have a couple weeks where Myles Garrett has been banged up. Denzel Ward has missed a lot of time. He's going to play in this game, and he's going to lock down Calvin Ridley. So the Jaguars offense is going to be featuring Zay Jones as the number one guy, Evan Ingram, who has a tough matchup with Grant Delpit, just got paid one of these safeties at blankets tight ends. Evan Ingram doesn't score a lot of touchdowns. So again, like Parker Washington, there's just not enough guys on Jacksonville where we can see that they move the ball, where Flacco, this team's not afraid to drop back to throw the ball. Jaguars secondary is horrible, and Amari Cooper's going to play. So he's got Cooper, he's got Elijah Moore, and a quarterback that's not afraid to throw the ball downfield, which is the big weakness of this Jacksonville defense. So I like the Browns on the offensive side, on their defensive side, all phases.
I'm with you. I don't get the line move. It's somewhat of a confusing situation in this one. It's like, wait, really? Yeah, give me the Browns -2. The other line move, or it's bets that I don't fully back or understand. The Rams are at Baltimore. The rain has come. It's going to be nasty in Baltimore. It's not going to be a fun atmosphere at all for viewers, for players, anybody there with the amount. The temperature is not that bad. It's mid-50s, but the rain is definitely coming down. Totals dropped to 42. It's still 7.5 here for Baltimore. Can you make a case for the Rams at +7.5? Because I really can't.
No, because the thing about Baltimore is it's the place where NFC pretenders go to die. We saw the Lions go there, get absolutely destroyed after we thought they were a thing. We saw the Seahawks go there after we thought they were a thing, get absolutely destroyed. And the Rams are going to follow suit. Again, you mentioned on the show 2 weeks ago when the Rams play Seahawks, when they play the Cardinals, those are the teams they dominate. But when they play teams that are not NFC South birds, they don't know what to do. Or NFC West birds. This is a Ravens AFC North bird. I hate this spot for the Rams. And again, I think that the rain is actually an advantage for them just because it makes it so maybe the Ravens offense can't be as prolific throwing the ball, but this team also loves to run the football. They have 3 capable running backs plus Lamar. So maybe it starts out a little bit slow and you feel good about the Rams +7. And then it's like, oh, second half, what do you know? rushing touchdown here, rushing touchdown there, and then you're pulling your hair out. So
yeah, I just teased it down. I took the Ravens from 7.5 to 1.5 and just said, look, if you're going to give me 7.5 points, I'll just pull it down just in case they win by 7, and I can avoid a backdoor beat and be like, oh my gosh, I can't believe they won by 7 instead of 7.5. But I don't think the Ravens are going to be threatened much today in this game, and I think Baltimore should cruise. Look, that obviously this offense for the Rams has shown itself at times to be really explosive, but like you mentioned, this is not the Cardinals. This is not the Seahawks. Okay. This is, and they're on the East Coast. It's West Coast time. It's
dome team. Like that's the other thing. Matthew Stafford is an indoor cat. So
no dome team. Yeah. I'm here. Okay. So Detroit and Chicago, the weather, everybody was harping like wind. Oh, Chicago weather's fine, guys. Weather's no problem. I bet this last night. Look, I think the Bears are going to be a really big problem. I love this spot in a teaser, and this very well may be a long teaser if it drops down below 3 here, but I've already teased this up, but I've taken the over 43 in this one. It's still a 3-point number for the Lions. It's 44.5 at most books. I got 43 last night. I bet over. Where are you on Lions and the Bears today?
Yeah, the total is tough because it's again the line has moved a lot. Like we see 45.5, then it was down at 41. That's a 43. So I think it's going to be close depending on where you end up getting the best value on the bet. Honestly, I just like the Bears. The Bears should have beat the Lions outright in Detroit a couple weeks ago. The Lions have shown like a lot of weaknesses over the last couple weeks against inferior teams not showing up. And anytime I can bet against Jared Goff playing outside, I know it's not these absurd crazy temperatures, but it's still not like warm. Like it's still not ideal conditions for Goff, who just has a very bad track record of performing in outdoor elements. Even if it's just like not necessarily super bad, but I just like the Bears a lot in this spot, especially at +3. I think the Bears could win outright. Again, the Bears should have beat the Lions already this season in Detroit in a shootout. So and I think the Bears defense is underrated. So I like the Bears side here.
I got 2 props in this. Justin Fields at home has not gone over this number, 64.5 yards rushing. I know people have been betting over the 60. I let it climb all the way up, and then I'm going to take the under. You may want to just wait and bet this right before kick. It feels like everyone expects a rushing game here for Justin Fields, but at home, he's a different guy. And everyone's like, well, he doesn't hit this, but the last time he played against the Lions, he did. That was in a dome on the road. This is at home. And this is an outdoor game. I don't think Justin Fields is going to have a monster game running on the Lions here because they just gave up a ton of yards to him a couple of weeks ago. Don't you think the Lions will have a different game plan to spy and not let Fields beat them with their legs?
I would think so, but the Lions defense has also been really bad. I'm not so sure they have the actual personnel to try to stop Justin Fields. And when you look at what Justin Fields has done against Detroit, not just like this season, but the last time he played them, 147 yards rushing, 132 yards rush. Like he's gone over 100 yards in 3 straight games against the Lions. So I understand why the line is crazy here. I probably wouldn't touch it either way just because I don't think there's a lot of value on it. But that's kind of where I'm at with Fields.
I like the under in that game. And then I'm correlating it. I think DJ Moore has a big game. Over 5.5 receptions for him. You can go to DraftKings. I couldn't believe it. It's plus money, plus 105 on over 5.5 receptions. Just given the way this offense has been running through him and where I think this game will be. I don't think we're seeing Fields run a lot. I think they're going to throw a lot. I think like I mentioned, Lions defense is not good, and that's why I like the Bears to win the game. And I like Fields to throw the football here on DJ Moore. How do you feel about Moore over 5.5 receptions?
I like this one a lot. DJ Moore has been on an absolute tear. You look at the games that he's played just with Fields, like he's going over this number consistently. So at that plus money odds, I like it a lot. The other prop I really like in this game is on Jahmyr Gibbs. His receiving yardage over prop. He had 59 yards against the Bears earlier. The Bears are a really good team against running backs in terms of the rush. Worst defense in the NFL against running backs in the passing game. So if this game is a little bit more back and forth, more close, I think you're going to see Gibbs a lot operating on third downs, catching balls out of the backfield, especially if Jared Goff's not holding the ball a ton, trying to get the ball out quick. So I like Gibbs. Again, if you think there's going to be scoring in this game, like you want to bet some of these player prop overs, I think Gibbs and DJ Moore, those guys are explosive players that can rack up points quick.
Yeah, 24-21 type game is what I'm expecting here. I do think the line is about right. It's a 3-point game one way or the other. So I do think there's some real value in teasing up the Bears. I've got them in a couple other teasers we'll get to later, but I think that the Bears are a team you can look at here and not just if they lose the game. I don't think they lose the game by more than a touchdown at home to the Lions. So I think we're both on the same side there. Another game that I like a lot to tease down, and I did it earlier in the week. I actually combined it with the Bears going up to +9. I like the Saints just to win the game against Carolina here. The number is 5.5 or 6. It's 39 at most books. Some are testing the waters at 38 here, but I've seen a lot of people on the Panthers catching points. Can you back the Panthers on the road?
Yes, because I've seen Derek Carr play football, and I just so one of the things I think is being undersold here is Taysom Hill's not going to play in this game.
Right.
Like you may look at that and be like, "Oh, Taysom Hill, like what does it matter?" This team doesn't score in the red zone unless they use Taysom Hill. Like they don't score touchdowns because Derek Carr is the NFL's worst red zone quarterback, and Taysom Hill was one of the reasons they were able to get over that because of how effective he is and how teams have to game plan for him. Like that takes a lot of burden off the Panthers, realizing there's no Taysom Hill package this week at all. All we have to do is stop Derek Carr, who can basically not get out of his own way. So I can't back the Saints here. You know, one of the teams that's been one of the most biggest disappointments, I think, of all NFL teams this year, just based on expectations. So yeah, Panthers are on the road, but I can't back the Saints in any capacity with Derek Carr starting somehow.
I wouldn't lay points, but if you pull it down 5.5 or 6 to just a pick, I can't see the Panthers going into New Orleans and winning the game. I have such little expectations for this Panther team on both sides of the football. And the Saints are technically still alive. I mean, that division's still technically wide open with the NFC South. This is a game you got to win, right? If you're New Orleans, this is when you open up the schedule, Carolina at home is one of the games you put in the W column, no?
And it's exactly why they're going to lose this game.
Fair, right? Fair. We'll see. I like them to win. I hear it. And then the other game in the division is Tampa on the road at Atlanta. More money coming in here on Tampa. The number continues to drop. We're down to 1.5 now. 1 at certain books. We may go off on a pick here for this one. 41.5, 41 at most books from a total perspective. You like the Bucs on the road here? This is Ritter at home. I thought this was like the auto fire with the Ritter at home and the Falcons.
No, I'm with you. I'm Ritter at home. Auto fire Ritter at home. That's what I do here. So I don't overthink it. Ritter plays significantly better. The Falcons defense or the Falcons team plays better at home overall. And we look at this matchup last time. The Falcons beat the Buccaneers in Tampa Bay when Desmond Ritter turned over the ball 3 times in the red zone, and they still won the game. And you know who didn't play in that game? Bijan Robinson.
Right.
Because he had that migraine. So he only played 1 snap in the entire game. He was their best running back, and the Falcons still were able to run the ball effectively, even without Bijan. So Tampa Bay, a lot of their defenders, Vita Vea has been playing banged up. Their linebackers have been hurt between Levante David. I think that you're going to see Atlanta roll here. I think that Tampa Bay kind of finally turns back into the team we thought they were going to be at the beginning of the season. They've been cute. They've been hanging around in certain games. I think Atlanta is like, hey, we can win the division. Let's have a statement win here. I feel much more confident about Atlanta winning than I do about New Orleans.
I hope you're right, because I bet under 6.5 wins on the Bucs, and I keep on waiting for the team you just talked about to show up. Like, where is the team I thought was going to be awful? Like, where is the complete garbage Bucs? Because they keep on winning games. They have, I think, 5 wins now. They get 2 more and I lose. So, like, this is one of those games where it's like, they can't go to Atlanta and win. I had this in the loss column here, and I could fade off of it. I'm going into week 17, and I can bet against it. I will. But I need them to get to week 17 with just having, 6 wins. They win this game, I'm in big trouble. So I need them to lose this game. I hope you're right, and the Falcons come back to life. This number is wild to me. Indianapolis open -2. It has flipped all the way to 3. The other way, Cincinnati -3. Total is 44.5. This Jake Browning love. Okay, hold on a second. Are we going overboard here? Because like everyone I'm talking to is like, man, Jake Browning really showed me a lot. Look at that offense. Look at the weapons. Are we getting caught up here in a 1-week performance?
I think so. Yeah, I think it's a little bit of recency bias going on. And if I've learned anything about handicapping all the games this year, it's that recency bias will kill you. It will absolutely kill you if you're not looking at the larger sample size of things and how bad the Jacksonville Jaguars secondary is. Like, the Colts secondary is not necessarily great. I mean, if I'm going to pick a side here, again, I don't like necessarily backing Gardner Minshew. He's super turnover prone and they're playing on the road. I just like the over in this game. Like, if you want to back Jake Browning as a legitimate guy, just back the offense scoring points against the Colts defense. Because the Colts offense is going to score against the Bengals defense. That's horrible. So I really like the over in this game at 44. I think I got a little early, like 42.5, but still, like, there's going to be points in this game. There's explosive playmakers on both sides of the football. So if you don't want to back Jake Browning as a winner, you just want to back, hey, I think you can move this offense efficiently, then I think the over is really the move to make in this game.
Yeah, dude, 3 or 2.5. This is, if I'm going to pick a game here, we'll get to the Wong teaser before we get out of here, but the Colts plus 8.5 on the road at Cincinnati is screaming my name on this because it's like, man, you got a chance to jump in here and they can lose the game. But you mentioned it. The Bengals defense is so bad. I mean, they just give up so many points. And then we get to the Jets. Speaking of teams that can't score, Houston on the road. I cannot believe the Houston Texans are laying 3 points on the road against anybody in the NFL, but they are because it's the New York Jets. Zach Wilson back under center after a whole week of controversy as to does he want to play? Does he not want to play? What did he say to the head coach? Yada, yada. I almost backed the Texans. I stopped myself. I literally had it on my app and I went, I can't do it. Where are you on Texans Jets? Because everyone's on the under. I don't know. I couldn't make a play on this game.
Like, we're not going to get 2 unders to fail when they're this low. We failed on Thursday night. The Patriots Steelers shocked the world. It's not going to happen twice in a row. It's not happening. So I'm on the under here. Look, MetLife Stadium is where overs go to die between the Jets and Giants. There are two overs between those two teams in MetLife Stadium with the rain. No, I'm taking the under in this game, and I'm staying away from the sides because I just don't think either offense is really going to move the ball. What CJ Stroud can do effectively, the Jets are good at. And we look at the ties from CJ Stroud, Bobby Slowick, the 49ers offense. Well, who knows the 49ers offense more than anybody else? Robert Saleh. Like, he knows the 49ers offense and how it works and what the weaknesses are of it. There's no Tank Dell. So I like the under in this game.
Yeah, it's so low. This is Army Navy low. I can't believe the Patriots scored 21 points in their game on Thursday. It made absolutely no sense. That game went over. I teased it up, went under, still went over 39. And now here we are with this game looking at a 33 and a half number across the board here with the Texans. I think the Texans win the game. If they're going to win the South, they have to win this game today. Do they not? This is a big game for the Texans.
Yeah. I mean, if you really want to, maybe the best bet is to actually bet on Houston to win the AFC South right now and just betting on Jacksonville.
Fair.
They're going to sputter out. Those are probably much longer odds instead of betting on this particular game. But you think, hey, Jacksonville loses, the Houston wins. Look at those AFC South division titles for the Texans.
All right. So I got to find a Wong teaser at the moment, and there's nothing really that I love. Besides, I do think it's decent to give Indianapolis to tease them up to 8.5. I do like that. So that's going to be one leg. The other leg is, I mean, can you stomach Tampa Bay losing by 7? Could they get away with losing by 7? Or do you like the Saints did you like them to just get blown out here on the road against Atlanta? Because you mentioned you like Atlanta big. Do they win by more than 7?
They might.
Yeah.
I don't want to back Tampa Bay.
No, I'm with you. This is a scary day, especially for Wong team. This is going to be because, I mean, there's a big argument about whether or not you can play 2.5 because the other angle would be to take Jacksonville up. I'm already on Cleveland minus 2.5. Can Jacksonville lose by less than a touchdown? Can I middle? That's me creating a middle for myself, which is always very dangerous to do because you're almost guaranteeing yourself to lose one side.
I don't know about that one.
Right? So especially if the Jags get run out of town, I mean, they could lose the game 10-0. And then
the Browns have been one of those teams where they either kill another team or they just it's a nail biter. So it's one or the other.
Man alive. And the other, I mean, I've already taken Baltimore down, so I don't want to do that. I'm not going to do that again. All right. I'll think about that. We'll give that to you before we get out of here. Seattle's at San Francisco. This is the biggest number of the day. It's already hit 14 at certain books here in Las Vegas. Other books are at 13.5. Total is 45.5. It's pretty much cemented 45.5. Circa's at 45. They're the only ones in the country who are at 45 here. Maybe a little bit lacking on the Seattle offensive side, given who's starting at quarterback for them. Any shot Seattle keeps this close with a backup quarterback?
God, I don't think so. I mean, it's a divisional game, so this is probably just. I'm not going to lay 14 points. Probably, that's not in my betting card necessarily. Right. But like when I look up and they won by 30 points. Like, I'm not going to be surprised by that either. It just Drew Lock on the road against 49ers who are really hitting their stride right now. Again, if I had to pick a side, I would bet on the 49ers, but it's like, what's the point? So
I agree on that. Yeah. You use the Niners in a money line parlay if you want. This is the biggest pros versus Joes game of the day. Vikings on the road at the Raiders. Now, Max Crosby is going to play. That was a big question here in town. Was he going to play? Yes or no? Vikings laying 3. Total is 40.5. Can you back Josh Dobbs on the road? Because the pros like the Vikings, the public all over the Raiders.
I just think that the value is with the Raiders, and the plus are getting 3 points. They're playing. Both these teams play really close. The Vikings are not physically capable of like dominating another team. Like all their games they play this year are one-score games. Like all the games are super close. So it's like, oh, I can get the other side of the team that loses potentially by a field goal.
Mm-hmm.
I want that. I want to be on that side because I just look at these two teams and they're kind of similar. They're both trying to hide their quarterbacks. They both want to run the football, play defense where they can make plays here and there. But I can't imagine. I really like the under in this game because I don't think both teams are like, all right, we're going to go in. We're going to fire on all cylinders. Aiden O'Connell and Josh Dobbs. Like they're trying to be like, all right, Josh Dobbs, like we want you to avoid imploding like you did the last time you played. More conservative play calls from both sides of the football. So I like the under in this game and like the Raiders.
See, if you like the Raiders, I don't know if the Raiders can win a low-scoring game. I mean, they haven't.
They win by more than a field goal. They don't have to win.
Yeah, it's true. I mean, it's tough for me to see the Raiders. The only way they really perform is when they're in high-scoring games in the upper 20s. Like that's the games that they're winning. And look, they're not a playoff team, but they have, delusions of grandeur. Like this is a game they have to win at home against the Vikings with Justin Jefferson coming back. Now, him and Dobbs, we'll see what that relationship's going to be like. But I mean, I don't know. I talked to a lot of people that I like, and they're all over the Vikings, people whose opinions I respect, and they think the Vikings are going to come in here and just blow the doors off that defense because the Raiders can't stop anybody. So I don't know. I thought about the under 2, thought about laying it with the Vikings, thought about teasing the Raiders up, and I just went, you know what? Until we see what Justin Jefferson looks like with this offense, this is a line through game for me, and I'll just come back to it.
I will say that. Yeah. So my favorite prop is in this game, and it's on Josh Jacobs' rushing yards, under on his rushing yards. It's at around like 71, 72.5, depending on which book you're looking at. The Vikings haven't given up 70 rushing yards to a running back since week 2. Like the Vikings do not give up any type of rushing yards, and it was DeAndre Swift. And he had that monster game on Thursday night where he was coming off no touches, and the Vikings were basically just letting him run the ball. Mm-hmm. So I don't care how many carries Josh Jacobs gets in this game. He's not getting 70 rushing yards against the Vikings run defense. So if you don't want to play a side, you don't play a total, bet the under on Josh Jacobs rushing yards.
Interesting. Denver at the Chargers. Look, I like Denver. I've teased it. They're in a bunch of teasers here. Up from 2.5. The number is going up. I got 2.5 teased up to 8.5. It's now 3 here for the Chargers at home. I can't get behind this. I don't agree with this. I don't think the Chargers, they scored 6 points on the road against the Patriots last week. Their offense is an absolute mess. Denver's defense is playing better. And I don't like Russell Wilson, but I think coaching staff wise, I'll take Peyton over the Chargers staff any day of the week. Who wins this one? Big game in the AFC West.
Yeah, Denver for me. I mean, Denver was just, one play away last week from covering. They had a drive. Obviously, Russell was got intercepted at the end of the game, but they were in it. Like, if you had backed Denver last week, like, it was close. So I think that they get back on the right track here. They've been a profitable team to back ever since they kind of turned things around with their defense. And look, the Chargers are in disarray right now. They're talking about splitting carries Austin Eckler with Josh Kelly, Isaiah Spiller, because how ineffective Eckler has been. Well, what's Denver bad against? The run. And the Chargers can't run the football. So how are they going to move the ball offensively? I'm very skeptical that Josh Kelly's going to fix all their rushing woes or Isaiah Spiller or whatever. So, yeah, I like Denver a lot.
All right. We just suffered through all the crap to get to the 2 good ones. These are 2 of the best games of the year. Bills at the Chiefs. Number is now 1.5. I already teased this. This was the other side of my teaser last night on the juice, taking the Bills up to 8.5. Combining that on the other side with the Ravens pulling them down to 1.5, or 7.5 is what I got last night from 1.5. This is going to be an awesome football game. Bills money line. I think the Bills win this game outright. I'm going to bet it personally. I teased it with the Ravens and the Bills, but where are you on this one? Because the public, again, all in love with the Chiefs.
Yeah, I think it has to do with just the fact that Chiefs play really well after they lose games. Like that's kind of like the common trend you look at. I think they've won the last 11 games after a loss. Patrick Mahomes, I think, is 18-3 or something after a loss. So very good numbers to back them. But I mean, I think the value is on the Bills money line. Like I think that's really where you're looking for the best value bet. And I think that it's always smart to bet if it's going to be a shootout. Just take the team with better odds. Because like if Josh Allen in a shootout can win at as high of odds as Patrick Mahomes can win in a shootout. Like it's basically more of an even play when I look at that point. But that's not the way that the payout structure is when you bet Bills money line. So I think from a value perspective, again, this game could go down to the wire. Hopefully it does from an entertainment standpoint. But if you're looking for the best bang for your buck, I think Bills money line probably makes the most sense.
Yeah, that's why I teased it up. But look at Pacheco's out. Okay. So that means you're going to put a lot of pressure on Patrick Mahomes, which I get it. He's the best quarterback in the game. But this is the Bills off a bye. What have they been doing? They know who, I mean, this is not rocket science. You take away Travis Kelce and you make somebody else beat you. Now, the Bills defense is not great. I'll give you that. But I think they're going to have time to sit and stew after what just happened. And they know, I mean, if the last loss didn't end their season, a loss here ends their season. Like they have no choice. Backs against the wall. This is as big of a must-win game. And you're going to Arrowhead. I get it. But this is the exact type of team you'd want to face if you're the Bills. I know that defense for the Chiefs is good, but I think Josh Allen moves the football. I think this team scores, and I don't know if the Chiefs are going to score all that much. I mean, I know the Bills give up points, but isn't the blueprint out on how to stop this Chiefs offense?
If the Chiefs don't stop themselves,
right?
Because that's the other thing. Like Pacheco, he's been one of their more consistent playmakers, and he's out. So I think that puts a lot of pressure on Mahomes and these receivers that have been more. Let's say they've been very unreliable this year. So in a close game where every play matters, you could see, Chiefs wide receiver drops the ball, Bills come away with a road victory.
All right, game of the night. This will be the most heavily bet game of the day. Everything's going to roll to it. All your money line parlays, all of your teasers, all into Sunday night. Number one show on television and the two biggest brands in the NFL at the moment, at least in the NFC, Eagles, Cowboys. Jalen Hurts is not healthy, but who is in week 14? Everyone's nicked up. Dak Prescott right now is looking like a guy who could win the MVP, but so can Brock Purdy and maybe even Jalen Hurts, depending on how you look at the betting odds. This number, if it lands on 3 at any of the books that I've got, I'm jumping on it. The only 3 I see on the book currently is DraftKings. It's not 3 in Vegas. It's even money, though, in Vegas, and it looks like it might be headed that way. It's Eagles money is coming in. Dallas minus 3.5. The total's high, 51.5. It's starting to creep down. It was 52 last night. Now it's 51.5. People tend to like the under. Where are you on Eagles, Cowboys?
Cowboys. I think the Cowboys are going to smash the Eagles. I think that the Eagles are going to get exposed. Woo! Like their defense is bottom 5 in the NFL. Like this defense is horrible. And their offense has been doing enough to kind of shy away and winning games very close. I mean, the Eagles have been winning on razor thin margins all year long. Like they've been winning games. They've been covering games kind of at the last minute, last second, where Dallas has been absolutely cooking on offense. I like the Dallas team total over 27.5 points.
Agreed.
They're putting 30 points up at this game. Like whether they win or lose, again, we don't know, but they're going to score a lot of points because the Eagles cannot stop anyone. And Dallas at home, under the lights, Sunday Night Football. Like, I look, this is usually a spot where you fade Dallas because of, how they always end. But this team has been different since Dak Prescott has really kind of taken over and he's playing the best football of his career right now. So I'm going to back Dallas. And I think that the Eagles are reflecting after 2 back-to-back big losses. Like, are we as good as we thought we were? I don't think the Eagles are. I think the Dallas Cowboys roll.
And I'm with you. CeeDee Lamb over 90.5 receiving yards in this one. I just don't think this Eagles secondary does a good job of stopping the best wideout. And I think Dak's going to eat. I'm with you. I like CeeDee for anytime touchdown as well. If you're looking for those types of things, I like the team. My worry, if you bet the over, my worry is the Eagles offense. Like that's my concern is they may not get there for you. So it's 51.5. If we get 30, if you like the smash, it might be 30-14. And then you're sitting there going, my gosh, it's going under because you're not even getting out of the 40s into the 50s. So my worry would be with you. I'm worried about the Eagles offense. I know that Cowboys defense gives up points. I understand that point. And AJ Brown very well might have a very big game. I was looking at his props as well on that, but I just came down on CeeDee Lamb. How do you feel about CeeDee having a big game against that secondary?
This was one of the first bets I made early in the week when player props are, what's CeeDee Lamb, what's the over? Because it's just going to move. So let's go.
Yeah. What'd you get? Do you remember the number?
Like 87.5.
Beautiful.
Like, I mean, he had 190 yards the last time he played the Eagles. So yeah, just bet the over. Have fun.
Yeah. I think he's gonna go ahead and ruin. The only other prop bet I've got that I didn't talk about was in the Indianapolis game. I like Joe Mixon to go over 21.5 receiving yards here. I think you're going to see much like we saw last week with Browning. He was targeting Mixon. It just with these backup quarterbacks, they tend to check down quickly and look for receivers, look for running backs as receivers and tight ends. How do you feel about Mixon getting the ball here to go over 21.5 receiving yards?
Yeah, I like this game environment. I think that you can see the Bengals playing from behind a little bit here, and I don't think the Bengals will necessarily run the ball as effectively. Grover Stewart's coming back for the Colts, defensive tackle after suspension, and he's going to help plug up the interior. So I think Mixon's probably a better bet through the receiving game than rushing.
So if you guys are just joining us and looking for my props, CeeDee Lamb over 90.5 receiving yards, Justin Fields under 64.5 rushing yards, DJ Moore over 5.5 receptions, Joe Mixon over 21.5 yards receiving are the four. Did we miss any of yours, Andrew?
Nope. No, Josh Jacobs under, and then the Jahmyr Gibbs over on his receiving yards.
Okay. And then finally, I don't know what to do with the Wong teaser here. There are some games that qualify, and I may just have to kind of just hold my nose and hope that we're going to be wrong on this, because Atlanta, the Bucks do qualify. It does go over 7 with a 6-point teaser. You get Tampa Bay at plus 7.5. Let me just write this down to see. So we can go Tampa at 7.5. You can go Jacksonville at 8.5. You can go, let's see. I think that might be it for the 2.5s, and everything else is, well, you can go down. You can take the Ravens down, but I've already done that. So I'd have 2 teasers on the Ravens. I don't know if I love that, but you can do Ravens minus 1.5 and pull that down below 7. And Colts, you can do the Colts at plus 8, at plus 7.5. Let me see. I like the Colts. So the Colts at plus 7.5, I like, because I think they'll keep that game relatively close. And then, see, there's a big argument as to whether or not you can use 3 or 2.5 in Wong teasers, because technically it should be 2.5, but you can take the 3 because you want to get off of 3. So I think 3 qualifies. Can the Texans lose? Can the Texans win by 10 points on the road at the Jets?
Yes.
Yeah, they can.
Well, wait, can the Texans? So you want to tease up the Jets? Is that?
Yeah, you take the Jets to plus 9.
Actually, I mean, I like the under in that game. So yeah, that makes sense. Yeah. Yeah.
Because I'm concerned about Jacksonville getting killed.
Fair. Because
Cleveland's defense. I've already gone in with the Ravens, so I don't want to go in with 2 bets on the Ravens. And then the other 3 that concerns me is where was that 3 that I was looking at earlier? The Jets at plus 9. We talk about the Colts, and then Chicago at plus 9.
I like Chicago. Yeah.
All right, I'll go, because I think they win the game outright. So yeah. I'm on. See, but what I've done there is now I'm on the over and Chicago plus 9. All right, I'm good with that. Yeah. All right. So it's a modified Wong, because technically you're not supposed to use 3, but there's not really anything else I want to win. So I'll use my own modified rules for a Wong teaser. People always get mad. They're like, you can't use 3 on a Wong teaser. I'm like, yes, you can, because the idea is to get off of 3. So it does qualify. 2.5 is supposed to be the number. Like I always say, is the total right? Yeah, total's right. Then it's 43. So then it qualifies. Bears plus 9, Colts plus 7.5. I like it. Andrew, anything else you like for today?
Nope.
Okay.
Let's go.
Appreciate it. He's Andrew Erickson. I'm Matt Perrault. Thank you for being here. If you guys have not downloaded the BettingPros app, go and do so right now. It is free. It is very easy to track all your bets on the BettingPros app. App Store, Google Play Store. To get there, you can view your performance and other people's performances as well across multiple sports. You can tail other players, other users on that application, and you can also see how your instincts are stacking up. That's where the prop bet cheat sheet is located, by the way. So that can give you some ideas as to prop bets, what they think the implied likelihood of a cash could come in. It's great for the NBA as well. Good for the NFL, but really good for NBA, as the NBA basketball season is really starting to go now that the in-season tournament is over. Andrew, thank you for the time. I appreciate it. I'm Matt Perrault. We're back next week for another episode for week 15 of the NFL Betting Pros live stream.